This is Elena. Elena is 23 years old. She was born in a small coastal town in Italy, near the sea and the old stone houses. She has long, dark brown hair, green eyes like the forest, and hands that always move, as if drawing in the air. Elena is not famous. She is not rich, but she sees the world differently. She sees light, not just the light of the sun, but the light in people's eyes, in old walls, in the quiet moments between words, and she paints it. A girl who painted silence. From the time she was a child, Elena loved colors. While other kids played football or watched cartoons, she sat by the window and drew. She drew the sea at sunrise. She drew the old fisherman with his wrinkled hands. She drew the way shadows fell on the stairs at 5 p.m. Her mother said, "You have a gift." Her father said, "But how will you live from painting?" She didn't know, but she kept drawing. At 18, she went to art school in Rome. It was hard. The teachers were strict. The other students were loud. She felt small, but every weekend she left the city. She went to the hills, sat on a rock, and painted what she saw. The golden light on olive trees, the way fog moved between mountains, the silence of a village at dawn. She didn't sell her paintings. She didn't post them online. She just created. Until one day, a woman stopped her on the street. "I saw your painting in a cafe," she said. "It made me feel calm. Can I buy one?" Elena was shocked. "Yes," she whispered. For 150 euros, she sold her first piece, Morning Light on the Hills. That night, she cried, not from sadness, from hope. A letter from the mountains. One winter, Elena got an email. Subject: Artist in residence, apply now. From Alpine Art House, Switzerland. She read it. "We invite one artist every year to live in our small house by Lake Lucerne, near the mountains. You will have space, peace, and nature. In return, we ask for one painting inspired by this place. All expenses paid. Duration: 6 months." She couldn't believe it. Switzerland, the Alps, snow, silence. She applied. She sent photos of her work. A short letter. "I don't paint for fame. I paint because I feel things deeply. I want to see how the light changes in the mountains." 2 weeks later. "Congratulations, Elena. You are our next artist in residence." She told no one at first. Then she packed one suitcase, one sketchbook, her favorite brushes, and a small photo of her cat, Luna. She was going to the mountains. Arrival in the village. The village was called Grindel, a tiny place with red-roofed houses and smoke rising from chimneys. The air was cold and clean. The lake was still, like glass. The mountains stood tall, covered in snow, watching. The caretaker, Mr. Weber, an old man with a kind face and a thick coat, met her at the train station. He didn't speak much English, but he smiled and said, "Welcome. The house is ready." The art house was small, but perfect. Wooden walls, big window facing the lake, an easel, paints, a warm bed, and silence, deep, beautiful silence. That night, she opened her sketchbook. She wrote, "Day 1, the mountains are not loud, but they speak. I will listen." First days, light and loneliness. The first week was hard, not because of the cold, not because of the work, but because of the silence. She missed her mother's voice. She missed the sound of the sea. She missed talking to someone, anyone. She tried to paint, but her hands felt heavy. The colors didn't feel right. One morning, she sat by the lake with her sketchbook. It was foggy. Nothing was clear. She drew a tree, but it looked dead. She closed the book. She walked back. She cried. But the next day, she returned. And the day after that, slowly, she began to see. The way light touched the snow at 9 a.m. The way the lake sparkled when the wind stopped. The way birds flew in perfect lines across the gray sky. She started a new painting, First Light After Snow. A mysterious neighbor. One afternoon, while walking, she saw a woman in the forest. She was older, maybe 60, with silver hair and a red scarf. She stood still, looking at a frozen waterfall. Elena stopped. The woman turned. She smiled. No words, just a nod. The next day, same place, same time. Again, the woman was there. This time, she said, "Beautiful, isn't it?" in English, with a soft French accent. "Yes," Elena said. "It's like magic. I come here every winter," the woman said. "My name is Claire. I used to paint too. Not anymore, but I still see like an artist." They walked together. They didn't talk much, but it was enough. After that, they met almost every day, sometimes at the lake, sometimes in the village cafe. Claire told stories of Paris in the 70s, of painting in Morocco, of losing her husband, and how art saved her. Elena listened, and slowly her heart opened. The storm. One night, a storm came. Snow fell hard. Wind hit the windows. The power went out. Elena sat in the dark, wrapped in a blanket. She felt afraid. The mountains felt closer, heavier. She thought of leaving, going back to Italy, back to noise, back to safety. But then she remembered Claire's words. Art isn't made in comfort. It's made in feeling, even when it hurts. So, she lit a candle. She took her pencil, and she drew the house in the storm. Not as scary, but as strong, as alive. She called it Home in the Wind. When the sun came back, she knew she wasn't leaving. Music in the silence. One day, she heard music. Violin. Soft. Sad. Beautiful. It came from a small house near the church. She followed the sound. An old man sat by the window, playing. He saw her. He didn't stop. He just smiled. After, he opened the door. "Hello," he said in broken English. "I am Herr Meyer. I play for the silence." Elena said, "Your music, it's like the mountains." He laughed. "Yes, they are my teachers." From that day, she visited him every week. He played. She painted. Sometimes, she brought him olive oil from Italy. He gave her old music records. One day, he said, "You paint the silence. I play it. We are the same." A friend in the snow. Winter deepened. One morning, Elena found a dog in the snow, small, shivering, brown and white. She took him home. She dried him. She gave him milk and bread. She called him Nevi, from neve, the Italian word for snow. Nevi followed her everywhere, to the lake, to the forest, to the art house. He sat while she painted. He barked at foxes. He warmed her feet at night, and for the first time, she didn't feel alone. The painting begins. Spring came slowly. The snow melted. Green returned. Birds sang. Elena knew it was time. The painting for the art house. The one she promised. She didn't want to paint a mountain or a lake. She wanted to paint the feeling. So she worked for weeks. She mixed colors slowly. She painted light, not shape. She painted silence, not sound. She painted the old woman in the forest, the violinist by the window, the dog in the snow, the way the sun touched the water at dawn. She called it the light we don't see. When it was done, she stepped back. Tears fell. Mr. Weber came to see it. He stood in silence for 5 minutes. Then he said, "This is not just a painting. It's a piece of the soul." A letter from Claire. One day, Claire didn't come. No walk, no smile. Elena went to her house. A neighbor said, "She's in the hospital in Lucerne. Nothing serious, just old age." Elena packed a small bag. She took the painting of the frozen waterfall she'd made for Claire. She took cookies. She took Nevi. In the hospital, Claire smiled. "You came," she said. Elena said, "You taught me how to see. Let me show you what I saw." She showed her the painting. Claire touched it with her hand. "I see me," she whispered. "And I see you, and the mountain, and the light." She cried, and so did Elena. Goodbye, Grindel. After 6 months, it was time to leave. Mr. Weber said, "You can come back any time." Herr Meyer played one last song. Nevi barked at the train. Elena hugged Claire. "I'll visit," she said. "I know," Claire said. "Artists always return to their light." She sat by the window on the train. She watched the mountains fade. She touched her sketchbook. She wrote, "I came here to paint, but I learned to live. The mountains didn't give me answers. They gave me silence. And in silence, I found my voice. ... And in silence, I found my voice." Back in Italy, a new beginning. She returned to Italy, but she was not the same. She opened a small gallery. She showed the light we don't see. People came. They stood quietly. Some cried. A magazine wrote, "Elena Rossi doesn't paint what she sees. She paints what we feel, but never say." She didn't become famous, but she became seen. She started an online course, Painting the Silence, for anyone who feels deeply. It filled in one day. She adopted Nevi officially. She visited Claire every winter. She still walks in the forest. She still draws in the air. Final words from the narrator. Elena's story is not about talent. It is about courage. The courage to be quiet in a loud world. the courage to feel deeply, the courage to create, even when no one is watching. She didn't need a big city. She didn't need fame. She needed space. She needed time. She needed light. And she found it in the mountains of Switzerland. If you are learning English, if you feel too quiet, if you think your dreams are too small, remember Elena, the girl who painted silence, who listened to the wind, who found her voice, not in words, but in color. You don't have to shout to be heard. You just have to be true. And maybe your light will shine too. The end. A second season. 1 year had passed since Elena left the village of Grindel. She was back in Italy, in her small coastal town. She had a gallery. She had students. She had peace. But something was missing. Every morning, she would stand by the sea and look at the light on the water. And every time, she would think, it's beautiful, but it's not the same. The silence of the mountains, the cold air, the way the snow sparkled at dawn, the violin music in the winter wind, Claire's quiet wisdom, Herr Meyer's smile, Nevi's warm body beside her at night. She missed it all. And more than that, she felt a pull. A voice inside her said, go back, not just for you, for others. A new dream. One night, she opened her old journal from Switzerland. She read her words. The mountains didn't give me answers. They gave me silence. And in silence, I found my voice. She closed the book. She lit a candle, and she made a decision. She would return to Grindel, but not just to paint. She would open a small art school for young women who felt lost, who saw the world deeply, who needed space to breathe and create. She called it School of Light. The first email she wrote to Mr. Weber. I want to come back, not just for a few months, for a year, maybe more. I want to teach. I want to help young artists find their voice, like I did. 3 days later, he replied, the house is waiting, and so are we. Then she wrote to Claire, remember how you taught me to see? Now I want to teach others, with you. Claire's reply came with a photo of her smiling in the garden. My hands are old, but my eyes are still young. I'll help you. Elena cried, not from sadness, from purpose. Binding the students, she made a simple website, schooloflight.ch, with one sentence, for young women who feel deeply. 6 months, free, in the Swiss mountains. Learn to see, learn to create. She didn't advertise. She didn't pay for ads. She just shared. And the applications came. From France, Leah, 20, a poet who stopped writing after her brother's death. From Greece, Nina, 22, a photographer who lost her confidence. From Germany, Mara, 19, a painter who was told your art is too emotional. From Ethiopia, Selim, 21, a refugee who drew memories of her village every night. Elena read each story. She cried for some. She smiled for others. She chose 6. They would come in winter to the silence, to the snow, to the light. Return to Grindel. When Elena stepped off the train, Mr. Weber was there, older, slower, but smiling. He said, welcome home. The art house had been expanded. A small wooden building was added beside it, with big windows, heaters, and 6 small rooms. It was ready. She walked to Claire's house. The old woman opened the door. No words, just a long hug. That night, she sat by the lake. Nevi ran in the snow. She opened her journal and wrote, "This is not my story anymore. It's ours." The first day of school, the 6 young women arrived on a cold morning. They were shy, nervous. Some cried when they saw the mountains. Elena greeted them one by one. She didn't say, "Welcome to art class." She said, "Welcome to silence. Welcome to space. Here, you don't have to be loud to be seen." She gave them notebooks, not for painting, for writing. "Write one sentence about why you're here," she said. Leah wrote, "I forgot how to feel." Nina, "I want to remember beauty." Mara, "I want to be free." Selim, "I want to show my home to the world." Elena read them. She said, "You're already artists." The rules of the school. Elena had only 3 rules. No phones during the day. The mountain is your phone now. Paint or write every day, even if it's bad. Bad art is better than no art. Speak when you want, not when you should. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers. She didn't teach technique first. She taught feeling. She took them to the forest, to the frozen lake, to the top of the hill at sunrise. She said, "Don't draw what you see. Draw what you feel." Leah, the poet who stopped writing. Leah didn't touch her notebook for 5 days. She sat by the window. She watched the snow. One morning, Elena sat beside her. She didn't ask, "Why don't you write?" She said, "My brother died when I was young. I didn't speak for a year." Leah looked at her. Tears came. The next day, Leah wrote her first poem. "Snow covers the ground, like silence covers my voice. But under the white, life is waiting." Elena read it. She said, "This is not just a poem, it's a resurrection." Salam, the girl who drew her village. Salam drew every night, small houses, palm trees, children playing, her mother cooking. But she never showed anyone until one day, Elena saw her sketchbook. She said, "These are beautiful," Salam whispered, "but no one here knows my home." Elena said, "Then we'll show them." She helped Salam make a small exhibition, Memories of a Forgotten Village, in the village cafe. People came. They stood in silence. An old man said, "I've never been to Ethiopia, but I feel like I've seen it." Salam smiled, for the first time in years. Herr Meyer and the final concert. As spring came, Elena planned one event, a silent concert. Not silent because no music, but silent because everyone would listen deeply. Herr Meyer played violin. The girls read poems. They showed paintings. They shared stories. No applause, just presence. After, a woman said, "I've never felt so full." Herr Meyer looked at Elena and said, "You didn't just bring art back. You brought soul back." Goodbye again. At the end of 6 months, the girls left, but not the same. Leah started a blog, Poems from Silence. Nina opened a photo exhibition in Athens. Mara painted a mural in Berlin. Salam got a scholarship to study art in Zurich. And Elena? She stayed. Mr. Weber said, You're part of Grindel now. Claire said, the mountain adopted you. She still paints. She still walks with Nevi. She still visits Hairmeyer. But now, she teaches. Now, she shares. And every winter, 6 new young women come with heavy hearts and empty hands, and leave with light in their eyes. Final words from the narrator. Elena's story didn't end when she found her voice. It grew when she helped others find theirs. She didn't need a big city. She didn't need fame. She just needed one mountain, one silence, one moment of courage. And from that, she built a school, not of walls, but of light. If you're learning English, if you feel too quiet, if you think your dream is too small, remember Elena, the girl who painted silence, who listened, who stayed, who gave back. You don't have to be loud to change the world. You just have to be true. And maybe your light will start a school too. The end.